you prepare for interviews? What expressions, phrases, or terms should business English professionals employ when trying to put their best foot forward in an interview? And similarly, what expressions, phrases, or cliché terms should we avoid using altogether when trying to make a lasting impression in a job interview? Welcome to the Word of Mouth English Studio channel, where we discuss all things grammar accuracy and articulation to help boost your confidence and help with output and input language-related skills. In today's video tutorial, we'll be covering both language-related skills as well as listening skills in order to enhance your language output when it comes to job interviews. We'll start off with a preparation task first to help with vocabulary building, and then we'll move on to some listening practice and end things off with a comprehension to test and check for understanding. Let's get started. In this tutorial, I'll be sourcing some material from the British Council, as well as my own. Let's start off by looking at some terminology that you should find useful before walking into any job interview in English. An expression we call learning and development is otherwise known as L&D, but not LD. Human resources is otherwise known as HR, but not H&R. We call business to business B2B. And, of course, business to customer refers to B2C. Now that you're familiar with these expressions, think of how many of them you've already used, think of how comfortable you are using them, and whether they're the same in your own language, as English is the language of diplomacy but also of business nowadays. So most of these terms or acronyms have been used globally already. Think of whether you've used them in sentences of your own. And if you haven't, how would you use them? Let's now move on to talk about what these expressions actually mean, or how we can break them down in terms of tasks and responsibility. In this section, we'll have a look at what each of these divisions of a company means in more detail and how we can stretch it out and talk about its responsibilities and functions. So what do we mean by L&D? Learning and development is a systematic process that helps enhance employees' skills, knowledge, and competency, resulting in better work performance. It's worth noting that L&D is a core HR function and a significant part of an organization's overall people development strategy. It plays a key role in attracting and retaining talent and enriching company culture as well as engaging employees. So what's the difference between learning and development? Well, both learning and development are essential in helping employees grow and succeed, but they have distinct purposes. Learning in the workplace is concerned with the acquisition of knowledge and skills and behaviors and attitudes that lead to improved job performance. The process of learning takes place through various activities such as seminars, conferences, hands-on experimentation, and articles or books. Development, on the other hand, is the broadening and deepening of knowledge in line with one's individual long-term professional goals. Development aims to grow job-related abilities, to expand one's potential for new opportunities in future. Activities that encourage development include leadership training, mentoring, coaching, job shadowing, and stretch assignments. Development is typically something an employee chooses to do rather than being required to do. Let's now move on to HR. What does HR refer to? Well, HR is the division of any business that is charged with finding, screening, recruiting, training job applicants, and administering employee benefit programs as well. Think of how HR operates in your own company. It is typically associated with the following: managing and using people effectively, tying performance appraisal and compensation to competencies. It helps to develop competencies that enhance individual and organizational performance, as well as increasing the innovation, creativity, and flexibility necessary to enhance competitiveness. It helps apply new approaches to work process, such as design, career development, and even interorganizational mobility. And what HR is really involved with is managing the implementation and integration of technology through improved staffing, training, and, of course, communication with employees. Now let's move on to business operations. B2B and B2C require different approaches to customer service. We all know today's consumers appreciate an independent, self-service approach to customer service. In the B2C space, individuals want to be able to quickly and efficiently resolve an issue. We want to be able to ask a question. We want to connect with a live agent without having to go through a long phone menu or hunt through dozens of web pages. That's rather irritating to customers. Therefore, the bottom line for a B2C company is to help customers help themselves. In B2B, some self-service options are certainly appreciated. However, B2B transactions are usually complex, expensive, and long-lasting. So as a result, B2B businesses often need a dedicated support team to address issues from their clients. And this arrangement helps mitigate the frustration and stress that results from multiple teams using the same account. It can also promote continuity by managing all the requests in one CRM dashboard, for instance. So what B2B does is it helps design a company's customer service to be high touch, to be consistent, no matter who calls for help. Keep in mind that B2B buyers have to consult with various departments before the purchasing process can start, whilst B2C consumers only have themselves to worry about. B2B buyers look at the long term, which means they spend more time researching and sourcing recommendations. The B2C customer, on the other hand, is more prone to impulse buying, what we call impulse buying on emotion, or purchases that are emotionally driven. Now, B2B buyers deal in high-value purchases, so any misstep is magnified. Any misdemeanors are going to be recorded. Small-value B2C purchasing errors are much less impactful, on the other hand. B2B buyers are also generally repeat purchasers. This means they'll purchase from you multiple times and they haven't simply purchased your services or goods once only. Therefore, organizations must consider the long buyer life cycle, whereas B2C consumers will often only buy a product once. Now, since B2B buyers are making the buying decisions for the whole company, they usually have a tighter remit than B2C customers. And this is how we would define B2B and B2C divisions respectively. Now listen to Maria's interview and answer the following comprehension questions while you do. In this first listening, there'll be 6 questions you'll need to answer whilst listening. So listen carefully and answer the questions successively.
Hello, Maria. Thanks for coming in for the interview.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for inviting me.
Well, as you know, the company has been expanding and we have an opening in our HR department. We're creating a new role for someone to lead our training and development within the company.
Yes, I very much think that my skills and experience are a good fit for what you're looking for.
That sounds great. So, your CV looks strong, though it would be good if you could give us an overview in your own words of what you've been doing over the past 4 years or so.
Well, in my first job 4 years ago, I was working for a small HR services provider which offered HR services including L&D to corporate clients.
Okay, so it was only B2B?
Yes, we only offered services to other companies, not B2C.
Right. And it says here you then left that company about 3 years ago.
Yes, that's right. I was looking for a little more stability and also to be part of a larger organization. So I joined a company with around 100 staff and a small HR team. As there are only a few of us, we each deal with a range of HR topics. in addition to payroll, one of the areas I was responsible for was learning and development.
I see. And so why do you want to change jobs now?
Well, I very much like the L&D side of my role, and I've always had particularly good feedback for my work in this area. I believe I excel in that field. So I'm looking to specialize, and as your company has around 2,000 people, right?
Yes, that's right.
Well, an organization of this size would give me the scope to specialize in L&D. I'm also a big follower of your brand and feel fully aligned with your image and values.
Well, that all sounds good. And I can see you have an L&D qualification.
Yes, I got a diploma 2 years ago. I am also currently working on a further diploma in psychology with a specific focus on learning and performance management.
Very good. Well, it looks like you have the qualifications and experience we're looking for. What do you think will be the main challenges of coming to a much larger company?
I can see that it might be perceived as a weakness to not have experience in an organization of this size. Though I see that it could also be a benefit. I won't be bringing too many preconceived and possibly inflexible ideas with me to the world.
Yes, that would be a good thing.
Also, I'm used to taking a very personal approach to employee development. I realized that such an approach with 2,000 staff members will have to happen in a different way, but I bring many ideas with me that can be replicated on a larger scale.
I see what you mean. Right, so, do you have any questions for me?
I think we've covered many of the areas I had wanted to address. I have 2 quick questions though.
Go on.
Who would I mostly work with on a daily basis?
Well, there's the HR manager, who you would report to, and then the HR team, which currently has 6 people in it. There's usually an intern or 2 who you can get some support from also.
Okay, thanks. That's all really clear. And my other question is, how performance in this role will be measured? What does success look like?
That's a good question. As you know, we have a performance management system in place, and from that, we have identified some learning and development needs within the organization, but we haven't devised a strategy. Your role would be to devise and then successfully implement this strategy.
Thank you. That sounds interesting.
Great. So, thanks again for coming in today. We'll be discussing all candidates next week, and then I'll get back to you by the end of next week to let you know the outcome.
Thank you for your time. I'd welcome the opportunity to continue discussing this role with you.
This recording is from the British Council. To find more activities to practice your English, visit www.britishcouncil.org/learn English.
And now let's have a look at the answers to this listening comprehension to see how you did overall. At C1 level, you should get them all 95 to 100% correct. Let's have a look. 4 years ago, Maria worked for a small HR services provider in the B2B sector. Maria has been in her current job for a total of 3 years. Her current role is focused on a number of HR topics and not only on learning and development. She did a diploma in L&D 2 years ago and is doing a diploma in psychology at the moment. Therefore, both of these options are true. But Maria will need to devise and implement an L&D strategy, and she'll hear back from them next week. So, how did you do in this first listening attempt? In the second part of the listening comprehension, you'll be asked to focus on accuracy. Let's see if you can take some time now to put all of these words in the correct spaces here below, or the correct gaps, as we say in British English. Here is the key. You should have scored 100% accuracy as a C1 Advanced English user. If you're a B2 Upper Intermediate user, expect anywhere between 75 and 95% accuracy. I hope you found today's video tutorial useful, and hopefully you'll be able to use a variety of these terms now in your next interview. Thanks for watching today's video tutorial. As always, if you enjoyed the content of this video and would like to see more like it, then please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't yet subscribed to this channel, then hit the subscribe button on your way out. Thanks for showing your appreciation. Also, we look forward to hearing from you on what kind of content you'd like to see more of in my videos on this channel. So let us know in the comments below what kind of English content you look forward to seeing next. And see you next time.